Hello, hello, and welcome to the first of 4 incredibly special shows in the lead-up to this year's highly anticipated Olivier Awards with Mastercard on the 8th of April. The Oliviers, named after Sir Laurence Olivier, are now in their 42nd year and are without a doubt the most prestigious theatrical awards in the UK. Now, these Road to the Oliviers programmes are a mix of interviews with nominees, features that we have filmed backstage that show different crafts and how shows actually happen, and also some musical surprises. And we want you to be part of these live shows. Let me tell you how. All you have to do is comment below with any questions you might have for our guests, and I will ask them. My first guest in the studio will be the spellbinding Darren Brown, so get asking your questions now. But before that, nominations were announced last week, and the nominees gathered on Friday for their celebration. Here's a taste of what happened.
Here at the Rosewood Hotel in High Holborn in London for the Olivier Awards nominations party, and knees up.
For the Olivier Awards!
We're here for the Olivier Award nominations.
So we've been nominated for Best New Opera Production, which is an absolutely fantastic honour, and it's so exciting for us to be here.
Yes, it's very exciting. I'm treating it as a night out for my mum.
I mean, it's such an exciting year for British theatre, and we're deeply honoured to be part of it all.
It's my first time ever experiencing the Oliviers, and being an avid watcher of it in the past, it's thrilling and overwhelming and beautiful, and I can't wait.
For an Olivier, it was something that was not even remotely in my thought process. I just thought that was so far away from my realm, and now to be nominated is honored. I love to act. I love the empowerment that it creates, and now I get to make a living at it.
I've been nominated for Best Actor in a Musical, and I am kind of thrilled, but I'd give my odds of sort of like 50 million to 1. Yeah, but these are phenomenal, great actor-singers, and I generally consider it kind of an honour just to be mentioned.
On stage, I've never been nominated for an award. At 72 years of age, it's incredibly special, and to have that much fun in a show, and then to have the cherry on the icing on a very big cake of a nomination is beyond anything I'd imagined.
I found everything rather inspiring, actually. I find the people that I get to work with incredibly inspiring. I find the process inspiring.
It's a continual inspiration. You continually meet actors, fellow directors, designers, all of which are just out there just to tell simple stories, really.
Young artists inspire me. Young, scrappy and hungry artists inspire me.
I think the work is what inspires me. What a great year this year. World-class theatre every night of the week in London.
People like Sammy Davis Jr., Gregory Hines, Fred Astaire, Harry Belafonte.
I mean, come on guys, we got to include Louis Jordan.
Yeah, absolutely. Pioneer.
London is a leading part of the world theatrical culture. We're very proud of that, and the reason that we're in that position is because of the amazing people that work in the industry.
It's the same case in New York as well, so with Angels in America right now, everyone's saying the same thing. It's such a great time, and it's such a great time for British theatre as well.
3 cheers for the Oliviers! 8th of April, Oliviers, Royal Albert Hall, be there!
Now, didn't that look fabulous? In this first show, we are going to have discussions about the nominations featuring the new breakout musical Everybody's Talking About Jamie. But first of all, I am beyond delighted to welcome onto the show a twice Olivier Award winner, nominated again this year for his show Underground. But before I chat to him, here's a little look.
But I'm stunned. It's either true that I'm stopping it or he's doing something mental.
Your mind wants to say, no, this is not happening, it's not real, it's not true. I reject it. I reject everything about it. Fantastic. Quite brilliant.
Now, I am delighted to welcome to the studio Darren Brown. Darren, how are you?
Hello. I just can't get over Lesley Joseph is 72.
Oh, she looks incredible, doesn't she?
I'm still on that.
She looks amazing. She looks amazing. Now, congratulations on another nomination. Now, this is... You've won 2, you've been nominated for a 3rd, and this is your 4th nomination.
This is my 4th nomination,
That's
yes.
incredible.
It is.
How does that make you feel?
I think because I do TV and theatre, and there's something always just a bit grimy about TV and something very noble about theatre. So it is lovely. It does mean a lot to me, and it means it's always felt like it means more than a sort of a TV award. So yeah, it means a lot.
And your show Underground, which is nominated for Best Entertainment and Family, it's going to go on tour in April.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us a bit about it?
This is a sort of a best-of show. It was originally written as a show to take abroad to other countries of people that didn't know me. So I warmed it up in London at the Charing Cross Theatre, little tiny theatre, to get it ready for smaller theatres elsewhere abroad. And by the time I'd done that and then got abroad with it, it felt like a really good show because it was all the best bits. I just wasn't sure if people here wanted to see a sort of a best-of show. So I toured it last year and it went down really well, so I'm now touring it again at the other theatres. So it is all previous stuff, but it's been reworked. It's its own show with its own heart and narrative.
And so if you've combined bits from previous tours and previous shows, do you have one show that was your favourite, or do you like to pick the best bits of each?
Well, I mean, this is my favourite. I always sort of feel that whenever I'm doing a show, so it's hard to give like an objective answer. I suppose there isn't one, but it is the best bits of all the previous shows, so that was a really good start. But it's also the one that I've worked in more than any other show. I did it every night for maybe 10 months last year, and I've never done that before with the show. So I've sort of reached a point with it where I can just love it and love every minute rather than being tense about things going wrong, which is my normal experience.
Fantastic. Now, we actually have got some questions from people who are watching.
I love a live question.
I love a live question. Now, Brenna asks, if you could have a go at any other theatre role, what would you choose?
Oh, wow. Oh, God.
It's a big question, actually.
It is, yeah. I would love to act, I have to say. It's I just never really get a chance, and I love the idea of acting in theatre much more than TV, I think, 'cause I'm just used to that thing of being able to work on something night after night. I really don't know. There was a sort of a Sherlock Holmesy thing that once got floated, which wasn't quite right. Again, I didn't have time, so I honestly don't know. I've never really... Of course, your mind immediately goes, if you think you're going to act, well, Hamlet, which is probably inappropriate as well. So somewhere between Sherlock Holmes and Hamlet, I would think.
And you think if something like that came up, you would do it?
I think if I had the time, which is always the difficult bit, then yes, I'd love to. It'd be a bit of a risky thing to do, and of course I might be terrible, but I've got... The sort of thing I do is a sort of acting. It's just a very specific and very comfortable form of acting because you're kind of playing yourself. But a lot of the sort of technical side of it is in there. I mean, there was a lot that I had to learn just to to do a show every night on stage. So yeah, I'd be really intrigued.
Brilliant. Now we have a question from Carly Ann, who says, "What do you enjoy most about performing on stage?"
I think I get to be this very charismatic version of myself, which is a lovely thing to do. You get to be this version of yourself that's funny and really well rehearsed and just in your best possible state, and that's lovely. Particularly when I combine that with during the days I get to write. I'm normally book writing or something like that, so I get this sort of quiet thing during the day. I don't talk to many people, and then I go out and just do this thing in the evening, which is always fun because it's a fun show. It's much more fun than probably the TV stuff that I do. So that's lovely. That's a really nice kind of rhythm to have.
Brilliant. And one of the themes for the Oliviers is Be Inspired. So who inspired you to sort of begin doing what you do?
Gosh, so there was, in the sort of magic world, There's a guy called Chan Canasta who was around in the sort of 50s and 60s, really Polish mind reader. There haven't been many of us historically. He was wonderful. He was very inspiring. Had a great sense of authority. Very charismatic performer. Very sort of underplayed, understated in his manner. So him really. There's also the Penn and Teller, the Magic, the American duo. Teller in particular, who's the quieter half. So I do draw a little bit of inspiration. David Berglas as well, who's a giant in my world, a veteran of sort of magic and mind reading too. So those are probably my three big: Chan Canasta, David Berglas, and Teller.
Brilliant. Now we've got one more question from Russell, who says, "What does winning an Olivier Award mean to you?"
Good question, Russell. I've thought about this because I think it's a strange one, because when you're creating something and you're the guy behind that, you obviously can't be thinking about awards. That would all be wrong. And then you end up taking credit for a team effort. So I think a lot of performers get a bit hung up on whether or not awards mean anything to them, and sometimes they can be sniffy about them. I think the reality is what the guy on the poster thinks about it really isn't that interesting. It genuinely isn't, I don't think, for that guy. There's so many people involved in making a show for which an Olivier, or any award really, can mean a huge amount. It can be career-changing. And actually, for the guy that's sort of accepting it and making the speech, it's probably, it means a huge amount, but for me, I don't see it as something for me. And that's not a kind of false modesty. I tend to give it to the director or someone else in the team and then get a copy made for myself. It's lovely to have, but I genuinely don't think it's for me. And I think if you are the person in my position, you're so used to taking the credit for a team effort that I think it's important to sort of to get that. So it means a huge amount, but I genuinely don't see it as a thing for me.
But a thing for everyone you work with as well.
Yeah, and I think it's important. And it always annoys me when some artists get very arty and sniffy about awards, and they say, well, it's not important to me. Well, who cares what you think? It's not really. It isn't about you. It really isn't about you.
I completely agree with that.
Yeah.
I think that's really astute. Now, thank you so much for joining us. Best of luck on the night. We will see you there.
Thank you very much.
It's been a pleasure.
Oh, this has been very nice. Thank you.
Now, one of the things that we really want to feature on these programmes is a look behind the scenes at what goes on into making these shows run every night in our theatres. And we're delighted to start today with a film backstage at a new play that's been nominated 8 times. It's The Ferryman.
I have a lovely team of 3 assistant stage managers, 1 deputy stage manager who works with me. We are currently just finishing off the setup for the day.
We are in the prep room at the moment where we do most of the cooking that you see on stage. All our potatoes are made and peeled on stage, so we take the raw potatoes and then we roast them. They all have to be timed so then they are piping hot and just ready. So we always try and give the actors food that is as fresh as possible.
I'm here to make some kites, which we get through quite a lot of. We have to make it because during the show it gets broken as part of the scene. He breaks it in a moment of anger, so it can look really awful if it just bounces, for example, just pings, and it's not the same dramatic effect. This is the muddied up area. They tend to put dry mud on their knees and dirt, and they also work it underneath the nails as well.
This is the feast table, which is part of my daily setup. So the food you saw being prepared earlier in the kitchen will eventually make its way down onto this table. Every plate is always in exactly the same place every time. The scene change during the interval takes about 10 minutes. The audience also witnessed the scene change. We kind of are a well-oiled machine now in that everyone knows exactly what they're doing. Everyone has a specific thing that they do at the interval every single time. This is what we call prompt corner. This is where I run the show from. I have 3 monitors. So I have a colour monitor so I can see the stage and everything that happens. I have an infrared monitor so I can see the movement during the blackout to make sure everybody's safe. Then I have a camera on the door. I have a little PA system, so I do front of house announcements to welcome people to the theatre, let them know when the interval is coming to an end, and it also allows me to talk to the actors backstage, let them know that their scenes are coming up. And actually we're at the point right about now where I'm going to call the actors to the stage for a warm-up. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of the Ferryman Company. The stage is now available for warm-up. The stage is now available for warm-up. Thank you.
We're just going to show you a few of our kind of more intricate bits of the show, like our lamp, which sets on fire every single night, so we have to replace it with a lovely new shade for it. But we've got lots of artwork along the staircase, as you can see, which is all from our current cast and previous cast children. So this magpie, for example, is our current Queen Carney's child's picture. And it's just another, you know, amazing detail in what is probably the most detailed set I've ever worked with.
I am delighted to welcome two guests to the studio to discuss nominations. Firstly, the editor of the stage, Alistair Smith, and the editor of the Musical Theatre Appreciation Society, Willy Mckenzie. Hi, guys.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Really, really good. So excited to be here.
Yeah? Are you looking forward to the awards?
Yes, very much so.
It's going to be pretty cool.
It's always a great evening.
It is a great evening, and I think it gets better and better every year, just more and more special, which I didn't think would be possible, but, you know, they always pull it out of the bag. So, we have Best New Musical first, which I feel like we should talk about. We've got Hamilton, which has 13 nominations, obviously. Everybody's talking about Jamie, 5 nominations. Girl from the North Country, 5 nominations. Young Frankenstein, 3 nominations. And American in Paris, 3 nominations. What are your thoughts on this particular category? Do you feel like it's a strong one?
I think very strong. I personally can't call it. I think so deserving. It's sort of reflected in how many votes. I mean, 13 is a high number.
It's a big amount of nominations.
It's a really strong lineup. I think it's hard to see beyond Hamilton, though. I think that's got to be the favourite going into that category. I think unless there's a very strong homegrown sentiment that could, I think, push Jamie to victory. I think otherwise you're probably looking at Hamilton as a winner there.
Well, I have a soft spot for everybody's talking about Jamie because, of course, that's my name. But obviously. But I think what's really interesting about everybody's talking about Jamie is that it just had this massive, like, sort of grassroots snowball effect, didn't it? And then suddenly there was these posters all over the West End in the Tube with this, like, really striking face on with the lipstick and, you know, and it just had this amazing sort of snowball, I felt, from obviously where it started to where it is now, which might make it quite a strong contender.
Yeah, I think if there's going to be a surprise winner in that category, it's Jamie.
It's Jamie.
I agree.
I think that's the next best bet. It's such a wonderful show, such a kind of moving, heartfelt piece of theatre, and I think there will be a certain amount of support because it's British, started in Sheffield, transferred into London, and I think it's a great story. Will it have enough to pip Hamilton? I'm not sure.
I think it'll be a very strong contender. Like with the faces you were saying, it's so iconic.
Yeah.
You can sort of just see the posters. Everybody's literally talking about Jamie. So if there's going to be a strong contender, I think it's going to be that show. It's going to be between the both, I predict.
Interesting. So we have also Best New Play. So we've got The Ferryman. We've got Network, which of course Bryan Cranston gives this massive performance in. Inc. and Oslo. And what's really interesting, I find, about these is Oslo is the only one from the USA. The rest are UK homegrown. What do you think about this category? Do you think it's going to be a tough one?
Well, out of the 4, I've watched 2 of them.
Which ones are those?
Inc. and The Ferryman.
Okay.
And so I guess my feelings are slightly biased because I can only discuss what I've obviously seen. And I think it's a strong category.
How did you feel about both of those? Did you enjoy them?
Inc. Brilliant.
Yeah?
Yeah, so I'm sort of pushing for that one. I'm hoping for that one.
Alistair, what about you?
Yeah, I think this is a really tough category. I think probably The Ferryman's the favourite.
Yeah.
But I think any of the others would be worthy winners. And I actually think there are sort of 2 or 3 other plays that were a bit unlucky to miss out on the shortlist as well. I think that it's been a really strong year for new writing, and I think you could have had 7 or 8 shows on that shortlist, and none of them would have looked out of place.
It's interesting that you say that. There is a lot of new writing this year, and it's been really interesting that new plays and musicals have been more new plays and musicals have been eligible this year than revivals.
Yeah.
There's something quite special about that, isn't there?
I like it. I think it's sort of a statement, sort of being part of this musical theatre forum. I'm sort of at the heart of the fan base, and I think it's us sort of stating that we're sort of accepting of this new writing, this new culture of accepting the change that's coming, because it's reflective of the ones that are sort of eligible for, like, the new Best Musical and stuff. 13 nominations again for Hamilton. I think we are definitely interested in this new writing.
I think that's one thing that I love about both Hamilton and Jamie is they're both such strong cultural things. Like they're so important, and they're both about discussions that are supposed to be happening. And I think we're finding that sort of throughout the nominations, absolutely. Now, obviously, we've got other shows with multiple nominations. We've got Angels in America, of course, Follies, Hamlet, 42nd Street. Any feelings on those? Do you think that do you think they're going to do well? Which ones of those do you think might pip the others?
I think Follies is going to have a strong year. I mean,
Yeah.
I think for me that was probably, for me, alongside Hamilton, those were my two highlights among the really big shows of the year.
Okay.
And I think Follies could do quite well in the performance categories. I think a few of the stars who are in that could walk off with something.
Interesting.
Yeah, you've got Melda there, so.
Well, yeah.
and Janie D as well. I mean, I think you could toss a coin between the two of those in the Best Actress in a Musical category. And I think either would be worthy winners.
It's going to be quite tight, isn't it?
Yeah.
Can't wait. It's going to be really interesting. And also, as well as being one of our panellists today, Willy has been chosen as one of the Olivier Awards 2018 Be Inspired champions. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Now, here is a look at the 4 winners for this year and what it's all about.
The Olivier Awards with Mastercard are famed for honouring the brightest stars and talents in theatre. And for a 2nd year running, they also now commend the unsung heroes with the Be Inspired Awards. They're for people who inspire a love of the performing arts in everyone they meet. First, we're heading to Sheffield to meet Pippa Stacey, who was nominated by her friend Isabel Judd.
I nominated Pippa because, since being diagnosed with a chronic illness as a teenager, Pippa has pioneered a blog which reviews the shows she sees on a chronic illness-friendly scale. Following the success of her blog, she started collaborating with regional and West End shows on chronic illness-friendly recommendations. Her work inspires and helps more people with chronic illnesses enjoy theatre.
Next, it's off to Southend to meet Angela Allport, who's nominated by her colleague Carol Simpson.
Angela is a dance teacher extraordinaire. Her love and dedication has inspired hundreds of her pupils to go on to pursue successful careers in dance and theatre, including my own daughter. Each and every one of her pupils respect and adore her. Over 30 years of working together, she has given me a truly lovely gift, the love of dance and theatre, and a wonderful friendship.
Next, it's back up north to Scarborough to meet Cheryl Golden, who's nominated by her former student, Andrew McPherson.
Even though we now live miles apart, Cheryl and I have become great friends and colleagues. Her commitment, unique perspective, and directing prowess have kick-started the careers of actors, writers, directors, stage managers, designers, and facilitators alike. This is the perfect thank you for her to reap back a little of what she has sown for so many people.
And our final champion is in the home of the West End in London, where we meet Willy Mckenzie, who's been nominated by her business partner, Lewis Snell.
Willy received a lot of nominations for the Be Inspired Award, which shows how much she is involved and admired in the theatre community. She is not only my best friend, but she is my business partner in a collection of musical theatre forums that we run. I'm so glad Willy has won this award, as it really couldn't go to a better person.
These 4 wonderful people are making such a difference to creativity in their communities, and that's why there are 2018 Be Inspired champions.
It's the dab. It's the dab at the end.
I had to. I mean, it had to happen.
I remember when I watched this, when I was just preparing for everything, and I was like, yes, there's a dab. I was so happy. So firstly, congratulations on that.
Thank you so much.
Secondly, just general congratulations. I mean, how did this all come about? What does it mean to you? And obviously, we saw there who nominated you. Are you guys quite close?
Yeah, so it's quite an interesting story. Quite a few people nominated me. So the person who was supposed to sort of go to with this, he couldn't come. And they were like, well, you can choose anyone. We've got so many nominations. I was like, how did this happen?
She's got all the nominations.
I couldn't believe it. I'm still in awe. I can't believe any of this is happening. But I'm so grateful. It means a lot to me because I obviously am so passionate about this industry.
Absolutely.
So it's fantastic for me.
And when it comes to the night, and you're going to get presented as your, with your award as part of the red carpet show, where we're going to dab.
Absolutely.
What are you looking forward to the most?
Just all of it, honestly. I'm just going to enjoy it all and make the most of it because it's one night and I'm just going to own it and dab it out.
Oh, quite right.
There we go.
Alistair, final question for you. Has there been a standout performance? Obviously, we've discussed the shows. What about performances?
I think there've been so many. I mean, I think Janie D in Follies, who I mentioned earlier, I think I'd love to see her win. Imelda Staunton's obviously nominated in 2 different categories, so she could walk home with a Best Actress in a Play and a Best Actress in a Musical. I think she's more likely to win in Best Actress in a Play. I think her performance in Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf was pretty astonishing as well. And then Bryan Cranston in Network, I mean, he carries that show. I mean, it's an astonishing performance. But there are so many. I think the performance categories are going to be pretty hard to call.
Brilliant. Well, guys, thank you so much. Thank you for joining us. We will see you on the night. Yes. Can't wait. Everyone at home, just to remind you that we are live on Facebook. You guys have to come and ask us your questions. Next, we've got a really special gesture. But for now, a feature in these shows will be a glimpse into some of our nominees' dressing rooms, which is much more innocent than it sounds. And starting today with Olivier Award-winning actress, nominated once again for her heart-wrenching performance in Long Day's Journey into Night, it's Lesley Manville.
Welcome to my dressing room, number 9 at Wyndham's. It's a mixture of kind of old and new, and the great thing is there's this fabulous shower here, which is pretty good for me because in Long Day's Journey into Night I wear a little bit of what I affectionately call my fat suit. It's just to make me a little bit plumper, but it gets a bit hot and sweaty by the end of the night. It's a nice little box that Jeremy bought me on press night that I keep all of my character's jewellery in. If I need a snack, this is like my favourite bit because it's a really, really, really good sofa and it's quite small, but that's fine because I'm only 5'2", and this is where I've had some of my best sleeps lately. Flowers from Miss Alison Janney. Yes, Miss Alison Janney bought me these. Yes, champagne! And that's it really, but it's one of the nicer dressing rooms in London. I thoroughly recommend Wyndham's number 9.
Now, a show with 5 nominations this year is a brand new British musical everybody's talking about. Jamie, here is a look at the show.
You don't even know it.
And from that show, I'm thrilled to welcome one of the nominees, Josie Walker. Hello.
Hi, Jamie.
How are you doing?
Really good, thanks.
Everyone's talking about me.
Yeah. Yeah, you should have called the programme.
I know. It would have been good. Now, I've got one question for you. This is for people at home who are watching now who don't know about the show. Can you give us just a brief summary?
Well, I suppose the show is a coming-of-age story about a boy called Jamie, and the show's set in Sheffield, and we just follow his life through a window of about 2 weeks. He's going through that transitional stage that 16-year-old boys go through, but he is very much himself, Jamie. He's out at school. He's come out in his sexuality, and he is just going through a very tricky process of his dad is showing distance towards him, and so he's negotiating his way through that. And he's got fabulous women around him. I play his mum, and he's got a fantastic best friend, and my best friend as well in the show, played by Mina Anwar, fantastic actress. And he's also got his aggressors as well. He's got bullies at school and a teacher who's not quite getting on board with how he wants to express himself, which is the main crux of the storyline, I guess, is that he wants to go to school prom in a dress, and that creates all sorts of problems.
Right. That's really interesting. I think what's particularly fantastic about it is that it's such a current topic.
Yeah,
it's something that's really sort of in the media all the time at the minute, and it's been beautiful to watch sort of its snowball from when it started in Sheffield to this enormous West End show with 5 nominations. Now, we've got some questions from the guys at home who are watching live right now. Chloe says, question for the incredible Josie Walker. You and John are both playing characters based on real people whom you've met many times How has that been?
Well, we didn't actually meet them until we'd performed in Sheffield.
Really?
So, yeah, we hadn't watched the documentary, the BBC documentary, that was Drag Queen at 16 with Jamie Campbell and his mum, Margaret. So when we met them, it was on our opening night in Sheffield at the Crucible, live on stage. And that was very, very emotional.
Yeah, I can imagine.
My first meeting with Margaret was stunning. I wish the audience kind of wasn't there, but in a way, it was like the time stood still and I looked into her eyes and there was like a kindred spirit there.
Oh, I think that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Lauren at home asks, how do you feel to be nominated for an Olivier? I don't know two more deserving people for these nominations. You both smash it every time I see you perform.
Oh, that's nice. Thank you. Well, it's a massive honour. It's a massive honour for the show. It's as you say, it's galvanised since Sheffield. It just keeps going and going. I think it's because it just reaches so many people. It's accessible. The audience are very much part of the show, and they see themselves on the stage. They see themselves at school. They see themselves as adults, as mothers, as a young lad that's going through and struggling to identify himself in a society that says, you should wear this, you should be like this. But Jamie is a very positive influence, so I think all of that makes the show, and it's just so exciting to be a part of all of that, because we are the sum of our parts.
Absolutely. And what do you think of the amount of new British writing that's been nominated this year?
It's brilliant, isn't it? It's just so exciting, especially for our writers as well, because it's their first get-together as a team, as a musical team. So it's brilliant to see that come through. It's brilliant that Nika Burns at NIMAX Theatre has given them that opportunity as well. And I think, hopefully, more producers will follow suit now and let new writing come through, because there are so many talented people out there.
Absolutely. And conversations that need to be had.
Yeah.
Now, the show is going to be performing on the night of the Oliviers.
It's not me, thank God.
Can you tell us about what's planned?
I don't know whether I can give too much away, but it's definitely John McCree and the company.
Right.
And it will be perhaps the opening number from the show.
Right.
You don't even know it. I'm not completely sure. They always keep these things from me.
Okay.
But, yeah, I don't know what he gets up to at school.
Well, I've been desperate to see the show for ages, so I'm looking forward to watching that. And I've just got to say thank you for joining us. It's been a pleasure, and best of luck. I wish you all the very best.
Thank you.
Now, thank you everyone at home for joining us on this very first Road to the Oliviers show. Next week, your host will be the incredible, fantastic Carrie Hope Fletcher with another array of special guests. Thank you and goodbye.